Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and of course, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Really nice slate of games. We saw a very predictable slate. We saw last night had 10 nice games. The late night hammer game just wrapped up. It was the Dallas Mavericks going to Utah to take on the Jazz, and it actually was a pretty decent game. If you had some guys in there, you definitely were able to move past people that had already wrapped up their lines. Just want to start off by thanking you for coming along with me, man. It has been a whirlwind so far. We are still picking up steam. Guys are really doing well. The Facebook VIP is jumping. Twitter is out of control. We are really doing a really solid thing, man. And we're like one unit taking the DFS world by storm, and that is your fault. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to start today's show much like we always do. We're going to jump into our Core 4 review. Earlier in the day, I released in the Facebook VIP as well as on our website, dfssweatshop.com, I released the Core 4 plays of the day to serve as a model for in your roster building. Also, I released the player pool spreadsheets. These are guys that I'm working with inside of my player pool that I like because I pride myself on being a DFS analyst who only talks about the guys that I'm playing, and I will tell you when I'm not playing a guy. I'm not going to say, I don't like him, and then you see him all over my lineups. I'm not going to say, oh man, I really like this guy, but I faded him. I'm not going to do that. I keep it real. I keep it 300. That's the only way I know how to do it. So I send out the information, the player pool, spreadsheets, little DVP stuff, as well as my actual Core 4 plays. And I do that just to give you a model. You can use my Core 4, no problem. But I recommend that you develop your own because I'm no smarter than you. The numbers have been crunched on this. If you do this 10 times, 4 out of the 10 times you are going to hit on your core. And if you are a tournament player or a single entry GPP player like me, you will definitely triple, double, 4 times, 6 times, 10 times, 100 times sometimes your buy-in, and you will be a profitable DFS player. That is the goal. A lot of people make millions of dollars playing DFS, but many of us, our goal is to, while we do look to those big purses, our goal is to become a profitable day-to-day DFS player, and that's what we do by sticking to our core plays. There is a lot more information on how to develop the 8-man roster once you've established your core on the website. Of course, dfssweatshop.com. I have some exclusive, like real deal, to the point videos that show you the 3 steps in the Core 4 roster building process. It was a life changer, a game changer for me. And I had to lose for a couple years before I figured this out. So this is a trial and error. I already did the hard part for you. I already lost a bunch of money my first couple years playing DFS NBA for you. So let's go ahead and jump into the Core 4 review. We're going to start with a play that I really liked, one of my favorite plays in the Core 4. And I got to be honest with you on that. I really like this dude coming into the slate. And he was probably the worst play of the Core 4 tonight. It was Paul Millsap. Now, he was coming in at about 14% ownership. And a guy this good at a price this solid. The good thing about the 8K that we were asking for him was it was just high enough for people not to be on him, but it was still low enough to where 48 points, the 6 times value, did not seem like an impossible task. Okay, so Millsap goes out and brings me back 29.75 DraftKings points. Not a good showing at all from him. But you must remember, when I'm talking about the Core 4, I'm looking at a combination, a culmination of 4 guys that are going to get me a combined total of 6x value. That's what I really want. So let's move on to our next play. It's going to be Kyle Lowry. He's another guy who I really liked. We talked about Lowry and DeRozan in last night's video, talking about how there's certain times in the year when I'm going to tell you, man, fire both of those dudes up. And if you did, I know it brought you closer to cash line because DeMar DeRozan had an excellent game. But we're talking about Kyle Lowry here at 17% in ownership, not very high on a 10-game slate. excuse me, which is kind of high on a 10-game slate. He goes out and scores 40 DraftKings points, 8.3K. Not a horrible night for him. Was about 9 points out of that 6x value that we like. So the first two plays in the core four did not reach the value that we were looking for. But we're going to move on to the next play, and that's going to be Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He was a gut play, somebody that I just like. When I looked over the slate, if you remember last night's show, I'm going through the slate, and this is the first time I'm looking at player pricing. So you're getting it like uncut. The first time I see a player's price, when we do the player pool from DraftKings and we get the actual pricing, that's the first time I see what they are. I'm not looking at this before then. So you're getting like uncut. Bam, I like him. I like him. And that's where a lot of us, if you want to call us gamblers, that's where we make our best decisions right there off of the cuff. And I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope a lot coming into this slate at 4.6K. He went out and scored 38.5 DraftKings points at only 8% owned. So if you had him in your lineups, he was definitely a way to separate yourself from the rest of the field. Really great value on him. The next play was somebody who, as the day went on, I believe he was going to get chalkier and chalkier, because we know in the DFS sweatshop there's some things that are law. We can target the Boston front court when it comes to rebounding, and we can target the Charlotte Hornets front court when it comes to rebounding. And I had to weigh out what I would do. Do I want to go Cody Zeller? Do I want to go somebody in the Boston front court? And I just felt that Al Horford gave me the biggest shot at that 6x value and also 40-point upside. That's what we like to see. Because if anybody that's not priced in the 8 and 9Ks can get you 40 points, that's a really good return on your investment. So we decided to go with Al Horford, and he did not disappoint. At 20% owned, a lot of people were on him. He went out in that 6.3K, brought us back 49 DraftKings points. Really, really great game from Al Horford. Now, this core four turned out to be a little more expensive than I set out. I like for my core four to be around half of my complete DraftKings salary, about 25K in salary. Well, this core four was 27.2K in salary, and I can tell you I wrestled with using Millsap or Julius Randle, and I should have went with my first mind, but nonetheless, this core four should have brought back 163.2 DraftKings points. That would have been 6x value that we were looking for. This core four brought back 157.25 DraftKings points. I was minus 5.95 away from the 6x desired value, and the core four did finish for 5.8x, which is not bad at all. I had a positive night, double my buy-in, really great night tonight, and a decent, really solid showing for the core four. Now we're going to jump into the feature four players of the night. These are the most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop and on Twitter and in the Facebook VIP. We're going to start with the Who Dat, scoring all them points over there, player of the night. And this is going to go to Costa Koufos, man, at 3.6K and 3% owned. Koufos went out and brought you back 42.25 DraftKings points. If you had him in your lineups, that was an excellent, awesome play, and I knew he brought you very close to the cash line, if not took you over the top. The how did I miss that play of the night is going to go to Patrick Beverley. Now, Pat Bev was in a plus matchup all day. It was very easy to see, and somehow just didn't get in your lineups. You just didn't have a lot of them because he was only 9% owned, and he went out at 5.4K and brought back 41.75 DraftKings points. An excellent game from Patrick Beverley in a game where the Houston Rockets set a record for three-point shooting where they hit 24 threes in a game. Awesome game for the Houston Rockets and especially for Patrick Beverley. The Heat check play tonight. I sent out this tweet a couple weeks ago. Get this notification. We all think that Kevin Love is going to be out. Kevin Love is not going to play. He's not going to play. That's what we all think. Well, about 20 minutes before lock, we get another notification that says, hey, Kevin Love, he's going to give it a go. So we look at that like, okay, give it a go. What the fuck does that mean? Does that mean he's going to, try to play? He's going to see how it feels? We're not sure what it means. If my wife bends over and tells me to go in and knock her down, and I say, baby, I'm going to give it a go, she's going to be like, what? Give it a go? What you mean? So I had no Kevin Love that day. I actually had him in a couple of rosters earlier, and I took him out. I completely faded Kevin Love. This dude went out and scored 57 DraftKings points, went ham. So a very similar situation pops up today. We get the notification that Nikolai Vucevic is questionable. He may not play. Well, then, about an hour before lock, we get another notification that says, hey, Vooch is going to give it a go. So I sent out a tweet. I said, look, the last dude who they said was going to give it a go went out and dropped 50 DraftKings points. Well, guess what the fuck happened tonight? Nikolai Vucevic, our heat check player tonight, goes out at 5.9K at 11% owned, scores 50.5 DraftKings points, was the top scoring center of the evening, had an awesome game. Much love to whoever had the stones to go out and roster Nikolai Vucevic at 5.9K. And if you did because you saw that tweet that I posted, hit me up on the PayPal. It's all good. I accept it all. Now, we've come to a part in the show where we have to expose that one motherfucker. Because we know every slate, there's always that one motherfucker. And tonight, it's coming out of the New Orleans Pelicans camp. It's not who you think it is. Because I can't go hard on the guy who gets injured. So Anthony Davis, you are off the hook tonight. This is going to go to your teammate, Drew Holiday. Drew, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. How the fuck you gonna go out there at 18% owned, steal 6.8K in salary from us, and bring us back 22.25 DraftKings points? You ran off on the plug. That's horrible. That's horrible. Now, I could see if we saw this great game from Tim Frazier, but he wasn't hitting on shit. And this is a game against the Houston Rockets. So we expect you to score against the Olay defense of James Harden, but you go out and you shit yourself with your snowflake ass. Tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake. And that's all on you, Drew Holiday. And I ain't gonna roster your ass again until I catch you in another one of them little juicy matchups. I'm gonna give you one more shot. There you go. Let's get on with the rest of the show. Now, what I do most times is jump into my best DraftKings lineup. And this is just to show you, how the core four is at work and any pivots or moves I might make. And of course, just to generate that transparency between the two of us so you know that I am actually playing the people that I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you my best DraftKings lineup. We're going to jump right into that. And then we're going to move into, of course, a recap of last night's games. But let's go ahead and jump into my best DraftKings lineup. Okay. This is my tonight's DraftKings lineup. This is my best one tonight. Now, I'm gonna show you how we went with the roster building process. Now you're gonna see a couple of guys. This lineup started strictly as a core four lineup. I had Lowry, I had Al Horford, I had Paul Millsap, of course, and I had KCP in this lineup. But I noticed that I had KCP everywhere. And I kind of wanted to get off of him a little bit because I was just going too hard on that guy. So I wanted to pay up to a shooting guard that I was very comfortable with. And I already liked the Lowry DeRozan stack. So I moved up. I moved down to Ramon Sessions because he was an industry chalk play. I moved down to Ramon Sessions, went up to DeMar DeRozan, and I had so much cap left over that I went ahead and put John Wall in there too, who had a really good game. Robert Covington was somebody who I kind of liked all day, and I said I'm not moving off Horford. I had Horford in about 90% of my entries. I loved Horford. Well, I couldn't do what I wanted to do at the other guard and the small forward spot, so I settled on Dennis Schroeder, and he scored 37 DraftKings points, and on Jay Crowder, who kind of underwhelmed with 22.25 DraftKings points. This lineup netted me a total of 317.25 DraftKings points. Oh, and I forgot, Julius Randle was a major key in this lineup. He went out and scored 45.75 DraftKings points. I knew the ownership on him was going to be low, coming off of that bad game and just really getting over the injury he had. But he really showed up big in this game. Pretty good game from him. Now, let us jump into a quick recap of last night's games. And the reason why we do this, while we go over the games, is because we want to get an idea of where we've come from so that we can have an even better idea about where we're going to be going. All right, so we're going to start the recap off in Washington, where the Wizards took on the Detroit Pistons. This game was not as close as the score kind of said it was earlier in the game, and Washington did pull away in the latter part of the third quarter. We're going to start on the Detroit side, where we saw a pretty decent game, like we said, from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Actually, a fire game, man. In 33 minutes, he had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Great game from him. We didn't see an awesome game from Andre Drummond. He kind of snowflaked out, but he had 13 points and 12 boards to go with an assist in 30 minutes. Not a great game we saw from Tobias Harris. In his 33 minutes, he had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, and 14 points. John Lure came up big off of the bench, and he ended up playing 31 minutes and had 17 and 7 to go with 5 assists and 1 steal. Nice game we saw from John Lure. On the Washington side, excellent game. Another excellent game from John Wall. Man, he got it done on the defensive side as well as on the offensive side. He had 3 steals, 2 rebounds, 11 assists, and 29 points. Nice game from him. Otto Porter tried to get involved in his 33 minutes and had 15 points to go with 8 rebounds and 3 assists. And I wish they would just start Kelly Oubre, man. But he didn't have a really great showing tonight. He did play 33 minutes and had 29 points. He had 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 steal. We didn't see much of Markieff Morris. He only played 18 minutes, and he had 11 and 3 to go with 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Brad Beal, in his 33 minutes, chipped in 25 and 2 rebounds to go with 4 assists. Pretty good game from Bradley Beal. The next game we're going to talk about is the Orlando Magic at home against the Brooklyn Nets. This is where we had some really contradictions at times in this game, because we all thought that we were going to see a nice game from Elfrid Payton. He was one of the higher owned point guards on the slate. I believe about 19% in ownership he was, and he didn't start the game, of course, because they started DJ Augustine. But not a great game we saw from Elfrid Payton. He had 10 and 6 to go with 5 assists. Now, we were looking for another 45-point Elfrid Payton game. We didn't get that tonight. But Nikolai Vucevic, man, he was the heat check player of the night for a reason. In 30 minutes off of the bench, he had 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Not a bad game for somebody who we didn't think was going to play and who was just giving it a go. Serge Ibaka doubled in his 31 minutes, had 18 and 10 to go with an assist and 5 blocks, which were huge. And Bismack Biyombo, not a great game from him. 25 minutes, he had 6 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. On the Brooklyn side, I didn't have anybody in my lineups on the Brooklyn side. Just wasn't feeling it with those guys. The best game we saw on the Brooklyn side was Brook Lopez. He had 22 and 6 to go with 5 blocks, a steal, and an assist. And we did see 19 minutes from Jeremy Lin, and he got off in his 19 minutes. He had 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He should be back into the starting lineup in no time. Sean Kilpatrick in 27 minutes had 13 and 6 to go with an assist and a steal. And Lin ate into him and Isaiah Whitehead's minutes just enough for them not to be able to produce a lot from the fantasy aspect. Bojan Bogdanovic, 15 points and 3 rebounds to go with an assist and a steal. Horrible game we saw from Trevor Booker. He was definitely in the running to be one of tonight's snowflakes. Aaron Gordon kind of did the motherfucker with him. He had 2 points and 9 rebounds to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. On the Orlando side, Aaron Gordon did have 13 and 4 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. We forgot to mention him. The next game we're going to talk about is the Boston Celtics at home taking on the Kemba Walker-less Charlotte Hornets. We saw an excellent game from Nick Batum, man. 22 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Perfect game from him. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist underwhelmed in his 21 minutes. He had 3 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. Decent game from Marvin Williams at his 4K price point. He had 12 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists. Pretty good game from him. Ramon Sessions did exactly what we wanted him to do at that 3.6K salary in 32 minutes. Nice amount of minutes there. He had 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. Marco Bellinelli came off the bench and dropped 11 and had 2 rebounds and 4 assists. Not much else we saw. A lot of us looked to Jeremy Lamb, but he only played 15 minutes off of the bench. I mean, Marco Bellinelli had 26 and Jeremy Lamb had 15. And the game flow dictated that a long-distance shooter be on the floor to kind of shoot Charlotte back into the game because they were down a great deal. So we just didn't see a lot of Jeremy Lamb. On the Boston side, Isaiah Thomas returned and got right back to business, man. He had 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. Pretty good game from him. He did lead the team in scoring, and Al Horford had the best fantasy game on the team, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 5 blocks, and that's why he was the anchor of today's core 4 plays. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Toronto Raptors at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this game, Atlanta was the 7-point underdog on the road going to Toronto, but they beat their ass. This game was over before it was over, and Toronto tried to shoot themselves back into the game late, but it was all for naught. Excellent game we saw from Dwight Howard, 27 and 15 to go with an assist. We talked about Paul Millsap and how he underwhelmed, 14 and 5 to go with 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. We saw a decent game from Dennis Schroeder, 24 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal. And Kyle Korver was shooting hot as a bitch, man. He had 24 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal. He had 19 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Pretty great game we saw from Kyle Korver at that price point. And not too much else we saw from the Atlanta Hawks side. Tabo did start the game. He had 4 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. On the Toronto side, man, we saw 23 minutes, horrible minutes of DeMarre Carroll. He had 4 points, 1 assist, 1 steal. Horrible game for DeMarre Carroll. DeMar DeRozan got back hot shooting at 34 and 5 rebounds to go with 4 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. So a decent game from Kyle Lowry, 27 and 2 to go with 6 assists. And Patrick Patterson and Chris Joseph off of the bench, they combined for 27 points. But Patrick had 10 and 5 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. And Chris Joseph had 17 and 4 to go with 4 assists. Pretty nice game from him at that price point. The next game we're going to talk about is the Chicago Bulls stinking up the joint against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I don't know if this is just the Milwaukee Bucks saying, hey, Bulls, we're better than you, or the Chicago Bulls just not really coming to play, man. We didn't see a good game. And they just played this game last night, the very same game, but in Chicago. So you had to think that we were going to see a more spirited offense when it came to the Chicago Bulls. We really didn't. These people, they scored 69 points in this game total. Horrible game on the Bulls side of the ball. We're going to start there, where Jimmy Butler has 7 points and 7 rebounds and 6 assists to go with a steal in 30 minutes. He was definitely in the running to be one of tonight's snowflakes. Wade led all scorers with 12 points and 5 rebounds to go with an assist and a steal. Not a great game from him at all. Bobby Portis in his 19 minutes of scrub love had 10 points and 8 rebounds. On the Milwaukee side, now I didn't think Giannis was going to have to play once the score got so overblown, but they kept him on the floor, man. Giannis played 34 minutes in this blowout, and he had 22 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block, and further with a triple-double. Jabari Parker, 12 and 7 with 1 assist and 1 steal. Not a good game from him. Greg Monroe doubled in his 23 minutes. He had 14 and 12 to go with 3 assists and a really good game from him. Mirza Teletovic, who I was on last night, but missed the boat on tonight, so now he's on the list of people that owe me money. He had 13 points and 8 rebounds to go with 2 assists and 1 block in 26 minutes. And this is what I thought was going to happen last night. They blew him out again last night, but he didn't play at all. Mirza didn't play at all. Not a great game from him. A great game from Mirza Teletovic was what we saw. The next game we're getting to is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies at home at the Grindhouse against the Sacramento Kings. Now, if I told you that the Sacramento Kings went into the Grindhouse and beat the Memphis Grizzlies, you would think Boogie would have an awesome game. Not the case tonight. He had 22 and 9 to go with an assist and a block in his 35 minutes. Costa Koufos, the Houdat scoring all them points over there player tonight, has 16 points, 13 boards, 2 assists, and 3 blocks in less minutes than Boogie. He only played 30 minutes of this game. Garrett Temple continued his quest to be the top shooting guard on the team. He had 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists to go with 2 steals. Not a great game we saw from Darren Collison, 11 and 2 to go with 6 assists and a steal. And Matt Barnes, who is very hard to figure out because he's supposedly got some legal issues. In 28 minutes, he had 7 points and 10 boards to go with 3 assists and 1 block. On the Memphis side, we saw Tony Allen grab 9 boards, falling one shy of that double-double bonus. He had an assist, 2 steals, a block, and 16 points. Good game from him. Decent game, but not a great game we saw from Marc Gasol, 20 and 6 to go with 4 assists and 2 steals. And we didn't really see much else off of the bench besides Zach Randolph in his 27 minutes. He had 10 points and 9 boards to go with 5 assists. Pretty decent game from him. We also saw Troy Daniels for 27 minutes. He had 13 and 2. And Vince Carter, in his 18 minutes back from an injury, only had 2 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Houston Rockets at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. We had a really tough scare in this game. Anthony Davis was kicked in the leg, and Alvin Gentry said, "That's it, no more." Didn't see Anthony Davis again. He played 22 minutes and had 19 and 5 boards to go with 3 assists. He was a snowflake, but a snowflake due to injury is not that bad to me. It's a guy that plays a full allotment of minutes and just stinks up the joints, who I really hate. Because we didn't see much Anthony Davis, we had a lot of minutes in store for Terrence Jones. In 28 minutes, he had 16 points to go with 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Pretty decent game from him. And we didn't really see much else. Outside of Sheikh Diallo, in his 22 minutes, he had 10 and 7 to go with an assist and a block. And Alexis Ajinça had 8 and 8 to go with an assist, a steal, and 2 blocks. Not a great game from him. On the Houston side, we scored 20 from Ariza. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals. Pretty good game from Trevor Ariza. Nice game from Patrick Beverley, 13 and 11. He almost had a triple-double, 8 assists to go with a steal. And we saw a real triple-double from James Harden, man. 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 13 assists. A tough game for a fantasy game for Eric Gordon. He was on the verge to having a really good game, but all he could do was score. He had 29 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Not too much else in the counting stats area. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers at home against the LA Lakers. This was a pretty entertaining game. We saw a really nice showing from Julius Randle. He had 25 and 9 to go with 4 assists and 3 steals. Pretty good game from him. Larry Nance Jr. had 4 points and 11 boards in his 34 minutes. He also had 2 blocks, 1 steal, and 1 assist. And Nick Young had 15 and a rebound to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And D'Angelo Russell played 26 minutes and had 15 and 7 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. We also saw 23 minutes of sweet Lou Williams fumbling and bumbling and stumbling and falling all over the place and knocking down shots. He had 18 points to go with 3 assists and 4 steals. If you rostered him, you didn't really like that very much. On the Philadelphia side, Robert Covington, man, the birthday narrative was on, and his game wasn't. In 36 minutes, he had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block. Joel Embiid, in his 28 minutes, had 15 and 4 to go with 2 assists and 2 blocks. And Jahlil Okafor probably was a very solid play. He had 14 points and 8 rebounds to go with 1 steal. But the guy that kind of stole the show was Ersan Ilyasova. He had 13 and 10 with a double-double to go with an assist and a steal. Pretty good game from him. And Nick Stauskas had 12 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists and 1 steal in his 26 minutes off of the bench. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Miami Heat at home against the LA Clippers. Now, if I told you the Clippers beat the Heat by 4 points, and we saw like a full allotment of minutes from Chris Paul and all that, you would swear they had great games, but they really didn't. Blake Griffin had 20 and 8 to go with 4 assists and a steal. Austin Rivers, who was starting for Luke Mamba Mute, had 7 points and 1 rebound to go with 1 assist. I didn't fall for that shit because I know that Miami's wing defense is pretty good. Justice Winslow was back. Josh Richardson, they've got some pretty good wing defenders, so I didn't like Austin Rivers in this 3-guard lineup. We saw 28 minutes of J.J. Redick. He had 17, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. And Chris Paul had 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Not a great game from him at all. On the Miami side, Hassan Whiteside, he had a pretty decent game, 11 and 17 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals and a block. But we didn't see much else from anybody except Goran Dragic. This dude in 39 minutes cooked Chris Paul, man. He had 21 points, 6 boards, and 11 assists. Pretty good game from him. And Justice Winslow, in his second game back from injury, had 15 points and 4 boards to go with a steal. The next game we're going to get into, and the last game on the slate, is going to be the Utah Jazz at home against the Dallas Mavericks. This was a pretty good showing from the Dallas Mavericks. We really thought the score was going to be very low. It was, I believe, a 189-point total. but they finished with over 200, so that was pretty decent. We saw Harrison Barnes for 37 minutes. He had 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Not a horrible game from him. We saw 34 minutes of Darren Williams. He had 18 and 7 assists to go with 2 steals. Dwight Powell in his 23 minutes had 10 and 4 to go with an assist. And Justin Anderson in 17 minutes off of the bench had 10 points and 3 rebounds. That Dorian Finney-Smith shit is dead. I already told you that. He had 24 minutes, 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. We can safely not roster him anymore. On the Utah side, not a great game we saw from Gordon Hayward. We knew this place was going to be slow. They weren't going to need a ton of points to beat him. In 35 minutes, Hayward had 13 points and 9 boards to go with 4 assists. Really nice game we saw from Rudy Gobert. 16 points, 10 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Not much else we saw except Trey Lyles in his 18 minutes, had 13 points and 4 rebounds to go with 3 assists and 1 block. Now, Dante Exum continues to start, but Shelvin Mack is just a better player at this stage in both of their careers. And Shelvin Mack in 28 minutes had 11 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, and 1 steal. And we saw 11 and 1 with an assist from Dante Exum. Now that we have recapped last night's slate, we're going to look ahead to tomorrow's 6-game slate. It's actually 7 games, but on the DraftKings main, there's only going to be 6 games. So if you play the all-day slate, you're going to see, some of the smaller price tournaments, and they're good too. They're good to be a part of. A few of them that are on the all-day slate are going to be stuff like the NBA 2.5K and one. That's a dollar tournament. Of course, we got a quarter arcade jumping over there. There's a $100 buy-in for 17 people that some guys are gonna be a part of. We got a $9 tournament, $2 all day, $50 tournaments, little stuff like that. But if you are going to involve yourself in the main slate, we've got some really nice tournaments over there. We've got a 40K spin, a $40 entry, 350K Saturday spin move. That's about 10,000 people in that one. We've got a really nice 300K 4-point play. That's about 88,000 at $4 buy-in. And we've also got the $400 entry, 225K power dribble, 30K of that going to the first place person. Let's go ahead and jump into the player pricing for tomorrow. And we do this so that we can develop a player pool in our heads. Remember, we've got 7 games tomorrow. 6 are going to be on the main slate. So anytime there's 6 or more games, I think that is probable cause for us to go ahead and develop a nice player pool as well as our core 4 plays for tomorrow's slate. We're going to start here and pull up the pricing on everyone. And as you can see, the first name we've got to jump out, the highest priced player on the slate is going to be Russell Westbrook. Let me take a sip on that. Normally, my first inclination is to fade Westbrook. And I'm kind of feeling that way now. But if this is an 8-game slate, there's no way I'm playing Russell Westbrook. But because it is a 6-game slate and there is that stat quality available, he is someone that is going to be on my radar. Now, the point total should be pretty juicy for this. They're both not very good teams. We're going to see probably a lot of scoring, a lot of turnovers, a lot of mistakes, a lot of rebounds, a lot of fantasy points involved in this game. And I think Westbrook can be a decent play coming off those 2 bad games. People are not going to be on him as much as they normally would be. So I do think that you could roster Russell Westbrook tomorrow. I can say that my exposure to him is going to be very minimal, if at all. Next play we've got 11.6 is James Harden going up against the Houston Rockets. You're going to see that DVP, say 3. I don't care about that. It's James Harden. He can ball out. Remember, they're on the back-to-back. Minnesota is fresh. We got LeBron James taking on the LA Lakers in Cleveland at 9.8K. And I definitely don't think that we're going to see 4 quarters of LeBron James. We may, because they sat out last time, and you might want to play a full allotment of minutes, give the home crowd something to really enjoy. But I don't see the need to go pay up that high for LeBron James tomorrow. Just looking at the top of the slate, this is starting to look like a a mid-level stack slate. If I can find like some mid price guys, maybe from uh 4.5 to around 8.5K. If I can stack 3 players on the same team in that price range, I think that's kind of where I'm going to be going. This is just off first glance looking at it. We've got Kevin Durant at 9.4. This is going to be a juicy game. A lot of people are going to like to roster guys in this game because we know Golden State is not very great against point guards. Kevin Durant is at 9.4. We got Big Dame Game. So he's up to 9K. So we're going to need to see a Dame game in order to justify rostering him at 9.1K. He's going to have to score 60 points for us to really feel comfortable about rostering Dame Lillard tomorrow. So that might not be some place that I want to go. You've got Karl Anthony Towns at 8.7. Steph Curry at 8.5, going up against Portland. That's a pretty good play. Kevin Love. I would rather have Stephen Curry at 8.5 than Dame Lillard at 9.1. I just would. We've got Kevin Love at 8K. He's probably going to be a safer bet when it comes to the Cleveland players. Paul George at 7.9. No. Millsap against Charlotte. The price is down 200 to 7.8. I might take a look at Paul Millsap tomorrow. He didn't really play well tonight, so a lot of people are not going to be on him. Draymond Green at 7.8. That's a decent play there. Eric Bledsoe at 7.7. I like that play against against Russell Westbrook defense. Carmelo Anthony, we need to find out if he's going to be playing because this is another revenge game. And I think the revenge game is Denver mad with Carmelo. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, him going back to Denver and dropping a bunch of points. Or maybe Wilson Chandler, who was on this team, part of the trade, Danilo Gallinari, who was on this team, showing that, hey, they got the better end of the deal. So that's another way to look at it. He's at 7.6K, so he's definitely playable. Andre Drummond against Miles Turner at 7.6K is playable. Porzingis, 7.5K. That's a more playable price than the 8K that he was the other night. I didn't like that. Nicholas Batum, we need to get the news because we knew that Kemba was out last night due to a personal reason, so it's not an injury. He may come back and play. We need to be vigilant and checking up on that throughout the day. But I do like Nick Batum against Atlanta. Kyrie Irving is a decent play against the LA Lakers. CJ McCollum is always in play in a game of this magnitude. Kemba Walker, it says he's out, but we need to find out for sure what's going on with him. If he is playing, I do like him tomorrow against the Atlanta Hawks. Dwight Howard, we don't mind targeting Charlotte rebounding, so he's definitely in play. The price on Nikola Jokic after that bad game went up for some reason. A lot of people are still going to be on him. I'm going to have a light exposure to him, if any at all. Zach LaVine is going to be a good play tomorrow against James Harden defense at 6.7. Klay Thompson, not in a very good spot against CJ McCollum tomorrow, but he's still rosterable in the game that big. Jeff T, 6.6. No, not against Reggie Jackson. Dennis Schroeder at 6.5 against the Charlotte Hornets perimeter defense. I like to attack the Hornets on the block, so I probably would stay away from guys that they're going to be facing on the perimeter. So for that reason, I'm not going to be touching too much of Dennis Schroeder tomorrow. Miles Turner is not in play for me against Andre Drummond. Andrew Wiggins is in play for me tomorrow at 6.3K. That's a nice price on him playing against Houston. That's probably going to be one of the higher point totals, save the Golden State Portland game. Wilson Chandler is definitely in play to me. That's the revenge narrative to me. It's Wilson Chandler. I like him at 6.1. I think that's an excellent play there. Actually, I like Denver. Denver's starting to look like a cheap stack to me because you could play in that 4 to 8.5K range and not even go over 8.5 and get 3, maybe 4 decent plays from this game, especially on the Denver side. You got Lou Williams at 6K flat going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's going to need to shoot and play well in order to even make this game playable. So if you are of the mindset where you think that this game can be closer than the point spread, then you maybe want to take a shot at Lou Williams. I will not. Victor Oladipo is questionable. We need to be on the lookout. Check out for that. Julius Randle against Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love at 5.9K is not something that I really want to have a part in. Gorgie Jang at 5.8. The DVP says second, but I do like Gorgie Jang against the Houston Rockets. Mason Plumlee is in play against the Golden State Warriors. Will Barton, I like him at 5.7K, but he just doesn't do enough in the way of peripheral stats to justify rostering him over, say, a guy like Wilson Chandler on the same team, or even Danilo Gallinari. Trevor Ariza at 5.7. I don't like that very much. I love Gallinari at 5.6. That is a nice price for him. Rose is probably still going to be out, so we can definitely go Brandon Jennings at 5.5. Tobias Harris, 5.5 is not in play for me. Devin Booker, after that hot shooting game, he's a guy that gets streaky, and when he plays well, he can play well in spurts. So I am going to be taking a look at Devin Booker tomorrow at 5.5. I love Reggie Jackson at 5.4. He's going to have a huge game at some point. He is. And I'm going to be there when he has it. I like Reggie Jackson tomorrow at 5.4K. Eric Gordon is a no for me at 5.4. Kyle O'Quinn, no, 5.3. Marcus Morris is in play against the Indiana Pacers. But Paul George is a fairly good defender. So I wouldn't. I don't like. I don't like Marcus Morris tomorrow. No, D'Angelo Russell. If we knew he was going to get his 30 minutes, I like him. But no, Pat Beverly against Rick Rubio. I like that. Rick Rubio handles the ball a lot. I think we're going to see Patrick Beverly force some turnovers at 5.2K. The price is up just a touch, but I do like that tomorrow. Clint Capella against Cat. It says that they're 21st ranked against the centers. So this should be a good matchup for Clint Capella, but I don't like him at all. I actually like Karl-Anthony Towns on the other side. We've got Tyson Chandler going up against Steven Adams. I like him at 5.2, but I like Alex Len more if he's playing at the cheaper price point. We've got Rick Rubio at 5K flat. Don't like that. Against Patrick Beverly defense. Steven Adams at 5K flat. Don't like that. Thabo at 4.9 can be a decent play if he's starting against the Charlotte Hornets. Thad Young at 4.9, no thank you. Emmanuel Mudiay, no thank you. Ryan Anderson at 4.9, he is in play. This game could shoot out some, and we might need to see Ryan Anderson knock down some shots. He had a bad game out last time, so I don't think a lot of people are going to be on him. I'm going to keep him in consideration. Tristan Thompson against the Lakers, definitely in play at 4.9K. Evan Turner, he's one of the players that I just kind of got to like him, because he consistently scores in the 20 above range, but the price never moves. And he is a guy that even if it's a blowout, he's going to get his run. If the game is close, he's going to get his run. He's kind of locked in to a 24-minute role on this team, and he's a pretty good point per minute player. So I do like Evan Turner. I like him above, if I'm going to get a piece of this game, I like him above some of the Portland starters, actually. Maurice Harkless at 4.8 can be a decent play against Golden State. Jordan Clarkson, no, 4.8. Gary Harris, the price went up on him 700, but he's a very good play. And if he's going to get some minutes, Mike Malone said he's going to be limited, but he ended up playing 30 minutes limited. So we can definitely look to Gary Harris tomorrow. I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope again at 4.6, going up against Glenn Robinson III. Luol Deng at 4.6. Now, just the fact that LeBron plays small forward. He's a really good small forward. This guy plays whenever the team is facing a decent small forward. Luol Deng is getting minutes, so he is a sneaky GPP play for me tomorrow. Not that he's going to get out there and play well against LeBron, like stop LeBron or nothing, but just because he's going to be out there defending LeBron, he's going to have that usage and get points and get a steal and get a turnover, get a couple of rebounds. So at 4.6K, that's not a horrible price for somebody who's going to see the opposing team's player leader in usage. Courtney Lee at 4.4. He is in play, but not so much. Kent Bazemore is dead to me. Cody Zeller at 4.3 against Dwight Howard. No, that's not a good look for me. Kenneth Reed at 4.3. He is definitely in play because we know we're not going to see too much Nurkic. Kenneth Reed is definitely in play. Enes Kanter at 4.3 is in play. No MKG for me. I like John Lure at 4.2. That price is not moving. Don't like Jameer Nelson too much tomorrow. Glenn Robinson, no. Swaggy P, no for him. Tim Hardaway is going to be starting for the next game, so I kind of like him going up against Nick Batum defense. Nick Batum is a really good defender, but I like Tim Hardaway to shoot and also create some shots with dribble drive. I like him a little bit. Marvin Williams at 4K. That's still a good price for him. Frank Kaminsky, we didn't see him much last game out, so I don't know how I feel about him. Alex Len is questionable at 4K flat. We need to check on that. Jamal Murray is kind of out of the doghouse in Denver, but with Gary Harris back, he's going to see a decrease in minutes off of the bench. Joakim Noah at 3.9 is a very interesting play against the Denver bigs. I kind of like him because he can work at the top of the key, kind of pull that Denver big up away from the block. So I kind of like Joakim Noah tomorrow. We got Cole Aldridge 3.9, Brandon Knight 3.9. He's in play. Ish Smith, no. Stanley Johnson, no. So it's a 6-game slate. There's a lot left to be desired. And J.R. Smith, man, I know I said he was dead to me, but it's a blowout. He's at 3.8K. All of the usual suspects are back, and he usually plays well when they're on the court. So we may want to resurrect J.R. Smith tomorrow. I'll be back in touch with you all to see how I feel about that later on. Marco Bellinelli at 3.6. No, thank you. Andre Iguodala at 3.6 is in play. Anthony Morrow 3.6. No. Marquise Chris at 3.6 is in play tomorrow. If we don't see Alex Len, he's going to see that increase minutes. Also, we want to look out for the minutes on David West. Because if David West doesn't play, we may see an increase in minutes off of some guys from the Golden State big side off the bench, like Kevon Looney, JaVale McGee. We might see an extended run from him. So you want to be on the lookout. Jeremy Lamb at 3.4, he's definitely in play. Lance Thomas 3.3, Montrezl Harrell 3.3 is in play. If you think the games blows out, so not a ton of like super juice on the slate, but I think there's just enough for us to work with to where we can make a couple different lineups with different approaches. We can stack some, we can cherry pick others, and we can look for value throughout the day as it opened up. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump into the point totals for tomorrow's 7 games, but it's going to be 6 on the main DraftKings slate. We're going to start with a 5 o'clock game, give you a little early taste of some NBA action. Is the Phoenix Suns going to Oklahoma City and taking on the Thunder? Now, what I just realized is this game takes Russell Westbrook completely off of the table if you're going to be playing in the DraftKings main slate. And I kind of like that because I don't want to toss and turn over a guy that's going to cost almost 13 grand in salary. The negative to that is somebody else can't get him and waste their money. That's the negative side. But on the Phoenix side, like we talked about in the past, Westbrook exerts so much energy offensively that it's very hard for him to be as good of a defender as we know he should be. So I definitely think that we see a nice game from Eric Bledsoe. And plus, somebody's got to score on the Phoenix Suns side, and he's the only one who I think can have that consistency to go out and have a good game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's no point total on this game right now. It's also a home game for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so we can definitely count them as a favorite. We're going to see, maybe we're going to see some Vic Oladipo. We've got to check on that to be sure where we're going to be with that. And I'm going to enter a few lineups in the all-day slate just to get some exposure there, or maybe fade this game and let everybody else get him, and I'll show up on the back nine with somebody else. I like Marquise Chris in this game as the cheap option, as well as Brandon Knight off of the bench. That's going to be pretty good. So I had to pick 3 guys from Phoenix. It'll be Bledsoe, Brandon Knight, and Marquise Chris. And we can also think about what we would do with Alex Len if he's going to be playing. On the Oklahoma City side, man, there's not too much to like here. Russell Westbrook hasn't been playing very well. Probably won't have any exposure to him, especially since this game is not on the DraftKings main slate. Let's move on to the next game. It is the lowest point total on the slate. It is the Indiana Pacers going to Detroit to take on the Pistons. This is a 199-point total, with the Pistons giving up 4 points to the Indiana Pacers. Now, on the Detroit side, honestly, Jeff Teague is one of the most horrible defenders in the league against opposing point guards. So I automatically like Reggie Jackson in this game. I think that you can definitely attack Miles Turner and their rebounding with Andre Drummond. He's going to be in play for me, as well as Tobias Harris. I like Tobias Harris. We're going to see a lot of point forward shit from Paul George, and I think that's going to free Tobias Harris up with Marcus Morris playing him. And it's going to free up Tobias Harris on the wing to make some cuts to the basket and get some easy field goals get himself going early and have a decent game. On the Indiana side, now Jeff Teague is totally off of the table for me. Paul George is always in play, and Miles Turner has been playing pretty well of late. He's not somebody that I roster very much with confidence, but you can definitely take a shot on him in a GPP. He's a tournament play, to say the least. The next game we're going to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets going to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. There is no point total yet released for this game. Just off first glance on the Atlanta side, we know we can attack Charlotte rebounding, so that leads me to like Paul Millsap as well as Dwight Howard. Now we talked about Millsap earlier and how he had a pretty mediocre game out last night, and a lot of folks are probably not going to be on him. But against the Charlotte rebounding core, you can definitely go up against them and get some good rebounding from them from the opposing team. I also like Dennis Schroeder in this game. Charlotte Hornets perimeter defense is usually pretty good, but Dennis Schroeder, man, he's an exceptional talent. He's playing very well. He's got total command of his team. He leads them in scoring most nights. So I definitely think that he's going to be in play tomorrow as a mid-level point guard play. If Kemba plays, I love him tomorrow going to Atlanta. Nick Batum is definitely in play, but more so if Kemba is out again with that personal issue. I don't want any part of the Charlotte Hornets bigs. The only guy that I might take a shot on because he's so cheap is going to be Marvin Williams. Right? The next game we're going to talk about is the LA Lakers going to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. This is a 218.5 point total, with the Cleveland Cavaliers giving up 16 points to the LA Lakers. This game screams, fuck it, don't touch it. Somebody's got to do the blowing out. Problem is, the Cleveland Cavaliers, it could be one of three players. So you've got a 33% chance, a 25% chance, because it might be some of the bums, the scrubs, to really blow it out, the second team. So you've got a 25% chance at picking who is going to be to do the blowing out of the LA Lakers. It's going to be LeBron. It's going to be Kyrie. It's going to be Kevin Love. It's going to be the collection on the second team that does it. So before I try to figure all that shit out on a really small 6-game slate, I'm just going to fade the game completely. I don't think we see 4 quarters of LeBron. The only player that I may even take a shot on would be Kevin Love and a very little Kyrie Irving, just because the Lakers are so bad against point guards. On the Lakers side, we talked about Luol Deng, and him guarding the player on the other team that gets the most usage may bode well for him, and just getting a few counting stats along the way. The price is 4.6K. It's not that high, so it doesn't take much for him to meet value. Plus, he's going to have low ownership on the slate, just because the point total is so, the point differential is so big. I don't like Russell in this game. I don't like Lou Williams. I don't like Clarkson. I don't like anything really from the Lakers side. Even Julius Randle, no. Only person I might think about is Luol Deng. The next game we're going to talk about is probably, in my opinion, the juiciest game on the slate in regards to the point total and the point differential. It is the Houston Rockets giving up 3.5 points to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are at home, so they're a home dog. So that means it's going to be a scrappy game. They're going to play well at home. It's a 221-point total. The Houston Rockets are shooting hot, coming in, having set records in three-point shooting the night before, but it's the second leg of a back-to-back. Minnesota is very fresh, and I do like Karl Anthony Towns. I like Gorgie Jang in this game, and I like Zach LaVine going up against the James Harden defense. It's hard to fade Harden on any occasion, and I don't think it's any different tonight. I do like James Harden in this game. I think Pat Beverly can have his way with Rick Rubio, especially in regards to defense, picking his pocket, getting in his head, being a harassing little gnat that he can be. Don't like Ariza as much, but I think Ryan Anderson can provide some solid three-point shooting in this game, as he did have a bad game last night. People will not be on him. I don't like Clint Capella very much in this game, but like I said, I think Cat's going to have a decent game and a nice showing out at home. The next game we're going to talk about is the New York Knicks going to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Now, there's no point total yet released for this game. Of course, we had Carmelo sit out I believe it was rest. They say it may have been some type of injury or something, but I believe it was rest. I don't think nothing's wrong with him. He thinks he's going to come out, he's going to play, he's going to want to play well against his former team. But to me, the narrative is a different direction. To me, it's not, oh, Carmelo's going back to Denver to play against a team that's really not to me. To me, is the same dudes that he got traded for are still on the team. And them guys are balling right now. And I'm going to ride that wave. I like Gallinari in this game. I like Gary Harris in this game. I have an affinity for Jokic. And I also like Wilson Chandler. Wilson Chandler's the player I like the most in this game. If I was going to take a one-off, it would be Wilson Chandler. But I'm going to stack a few guys from the Denver side against the New York Knicks. And we know Derrick Rose is going to be out. That is also what's affecting the release of the point spread. So with Derrick Rose out, Brandon Jennings is in play. Holiday is definitely in play. The price is down some on Porzingis. So while he's at 7.5K, I think we can take advantage of that. You can go Melo if you want. I think Melo is going to have a decent game, but does he do the peripheral things that's going to take him from a 40 point fantasy performance to a 60-point fantasy performance? He may. And he may want to go. This is one of those want-to games for him. It may be a game where he just wants to play well. So I will have some exposure to Carmelo Anthony tomorrow. Another intriguing play is going to be Joakim Noah. I mean, he goes out and he sees Nikola Jokic in the beginning. He's a very savvy veteran player, can play a lot at the top of the key, maybe get some assists early, hit a couple shots, get a rhythm going. I think we can look at him at that depressed price point. So this is going to be an entertaining game. I'm going to be watching in full effect my New York Knicks go to Denver and take on the Nuggets. The last game on the slate, and probably the one that most people are going to want to have the most invested in, is going to be the Portland Trailblazers going to Golden State and taking on the Warriors. This is a 230.5 point total, with the Golden State Warriors giving up 13.5 points to the Portland Trailblazers. Now, I don't think that Golden State can give that much up to Portland. Coming off a day of rest on a 5-game losing streak, these guys are going to want to get a win. And I foresee a really nice game from C.J. McCollum as well as Dame Lillard. Now, whether we get that Dame game from him, that's going to be something that we have to play the game to see. But I do think he's going to have a positive showing, and the game is going to be a lot closer than that 13.5 point total on the Golden State side. Now, what I'm saying doesn't make me like Portland players. It actually makes me like the Golden State side even more. Curry, I think, is going to be my favorite play from this game. I think we see a lot of quality minutes, and he's going to do some really good scoring and assisting the ball. Something about the way Portland plays team defense, they don't really harass the ball handler. And if you allow Steph to shoot that open shot, to get those open looks, and to create off the dribble, then you're definitely going to have a long day. But it's just so happens that Portland is a really good scoring team as well. Draymond Green banging down low against some Ed Davis. He's going to see because he plays a lot with the second team. Draymond does. He's going to bang it out with Ed Davis, bang it out with Mason Plumlee. I don't like him as much as I like the other guys in this game. Klay Thompson, not somebody that I'm in love with either. It would be Kevin Durant would be my second favorite play, my secondary play from the Golden State side. So if I had to pick two guys from Golden State, it would be Curry, it would be Durant, with a little maybe a little JaVale McGee mixed up in there. If I had to pick a couple guys from the Portland side, it was first and foremost be Evan Turner and then C.J. McCollum. I like how Evan Turner gets minutes with the first team in some instances. He'll get extended minutes with the second team in some instances. So I do like Evan Turner a lot tomorrow. Now, this has been your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Thank you so much for supporting the show, supporting the movement. Cats are getting to the money. We're making it happen. I'm definitely proud of that. If you would like to further support the show, because you are supporting the show right now in its purest form by just giving me your views, giving me your likes, your comments, your dislikes, whatever it is that you're doing, as long as you're making yourself seen in the sweatshop, you are definitely benefiting the entirety of the group. If you want to support the show further, man, over there's going to be a box, maybe over there. And you can click that box that says support the show, and you let that box take you wherever it needs to take you in order for you to support the show. If you would like to be a part, welcoming you into the DFS Sweatshop family. It's very simple. Go to the dfssweatshop.com website and you can register there. If you would like to get into the Facebook VIP when you register, go ahead and cop the year-long subscription. Get it out the way now. You don't have to worry about it at all. You will be a year-long subscriber to the DFS Sweatshop, and you will instantly be admitted into the Facebook VIP group where it all goes down. There's going to be a chat, of course, developing desktop only. We're working on the mobile for the website, and you can chop it up there. No matter what you do, man, no matter what you do, always stick to your core and always, always keep it 300.